The village of Bitkiv, Subcarpathia, the origin of the gas production in Ukraine, and also the location of one of the first gas wells in Ukraine. Our proud past, impressive present, and hopeful grand future. The energy of the West, it warms your homes and drives the country forward. This is practically a mini factory that gets the gas from all the wells and prepares it to necessary condition. Where do you get gas in your homes from? What kind of secret worth billions of dollars is hidden under the Carpathian mountains? I am Ksenia Orinchak and I'm starting my gas expedition. First ever. These words are often said about Lviv. First printed book, first ever brewery, first ever gas lamp, a lot of other firsts in Europe and even in the world came from Lviv. Did you know that Galicia is among the first areas on the planet where oil and gas were extracted on an industrial scale? Modern city of Extractive Street was called Lviv's Wall Street a century ago because it contained most of the financial institutions of the city. In this building, there was one of the first office centers in Lviv. From the very beginning, gas and oil companies worked here. Subcarpathian oil and gas companies managed to get the region to third place in the world. Just imagine, after the US and Azerbaijan, we were the third in the world. How did they do it? I was wondering that as I climbed these ancient steps. Is it possible to repeat that historical success after 100 years today? This question worries me as much as I worry Stepan Kazitsky, the ancestor of those first gas businessmen of the country, whose office building he's presently running.
Obviously, when there were no computers, everything was on paper. Geologists had to go everywhere on foot and document everything. Uplifts or some other formation that would have indicated a gas or an oil trap. Let's take a look at this map. It's a map of a Subcarpathian foredip, a geological map.
Subcarpathian foredip is a part of the North Carpathian Petroleum Province, the oldest in Ukraine. It occupies the territory of Lviv, Ivano-Frankivsk, Chernivtsi and Zakarpattia regions.
Here we have the Carpathian Mountains. Beyond this line where the Carpathians moved and created the Subcarpathian foredip, they keep moving and create more traps. This inner zone is an oil deposit, while the outer zone is a gas zone with gas deposits.
Locals knew about oil here from the 13th century, have been industrially extracting it since the 18th century, while 100 years ago, in 1921, near Lviv, a first gas deposit, Dashavske, was registered. Methane is being extracted there, and right now I'm going to show you how gas is delivered to you below ground. But first, I'm being prepared for this amazing expedition with an amazing goal.
First of all, we need to find a big, considerable deposit. We are talking about a deposit with an estimation of 100 billion. We haven't found one so far, but I'm sure we'll find one.
100 billion cubic meters of gas is 5 times bigger than is being extracted in the entire country. Kazytsky's dream to find a Western Ukrainian gas El Dorado.
The search of autochthon or para-autochthon, immovable part upon which the Carpathians stand. This can theoretically be a source of all already explored and exploited deposits in the whole of Western Ukraine, and in theory, it could also be an unlimited oil source.
And that is not a fantasy or legend. Mega deposit, so-called autochthon, that feeds all the smaller deposits exist under the Carpathians. Scientists talked about it since Soviet times.
During Soviet times, there was a constant search for this autochthon because it's here somewhere in Western Ukraine.
Over time, this autochthon has been forgotten, but a new expedition is about to begin our times. Potential results of this expedition excite the gas industry and can potentially return Ukraine to the position of one of the primary producers of gas in the world, like it used to be 100 years ago.
We have a slogan in our company: restore Western Ukrainian petroleum emirates. Little by little, we're moving in that direction.
They walk, go through mountains, and even sail to their autochthon for over 20 years. Stepan Kazytsky's father, Zinovy Kazytsky, is often called the first gas man. His family has been extracting methane since the beginning of the 2000s, and since then, a small firm with only 8 people has turned into a leader of the market called Zahid Nadra Service. To be even more precise, into a conglomerate which invests tens of millions of dollars into discovery of new Ukrainian deposits.
Our company is built in such a way that we have everything. We have a tomographic company called Georozvidka.
So you have a full work frame.
We also drill deposits ourselves. We also have a construction company called Nordic Boot, which specializes in the construction of petroleum infrastructure. This means that we work on the deposits on our own as well. Then we also sell our gas to customers.
Over 500 professionals with experience of working and studying around the world. Family and team that moves up and ahead the energy of the West. Gas is located deep below the surface. This is known by everyone, but it's unlikely that you know that gas is located in traps. Let us see how it gets there. A lot of people think that it's there in some sort of gigantic prehistoric caves. However, that's not true. Methane is usually found in sandstone. This is just sand, compacted and lithified by gravity and natural processes. But why does it stay there and not go out? You will ask. Let me explain. Gas-containing rock is under a roof of more solid minerals, as if in a trap. This trap must be opened or, in our case, drilled to release CH4 out of it. That's what drillers do. Drilling rigs, even as small as this one, are basically mini factories. They are serviced by a team, foreman, driller and 3 assistants, manipulator, electrician, mechanic, welder and others. Their main task to construct a drilling rig from pipes and insert it as deep as possible into the Carpathian ground. Everything has importance: soil, the angle at which deposits are located, water, and of course, an estimated depth of the deposit.
We need to lift up the square kelly and increase its size in order to continue the drill. And then just take out the pipe and weld on another.
At the end of the lead drill pipe, there's always this drilling bit covered with a heavy-duty coating. It penetrates the ground for hundreds and thousands of meters and is always under insane pressure. drillers have reached the 100-meter mark at the speed of 6 to 7 meters per hour within an hour, and 300 meters they expected to get first gas, but they are going to drill farther, up to 750 meters. For comparison, this is almost like the biggest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa, but down, not up. In general, Kazycki's enterprise has already drilled over 60 wells. 3 more are being drilled right now, and 6 more are planned to drilling this year. The group has discovered 10 gas deposits and is in top 10 of the biggest Ukrainian natural gas producers. They can become the biggest if they find their coveted autochthon under the Carpathians. This job will be delegated to this drilling rig.
This is an extremely powerful rig. Be careful. It consumes approximately 3,000 liters of diesel fuel. Can you imagine? Which is why this equipment cannot be used for small deposits. Look up to the top. Where the specialist is working is about 25 meters. At 10 more meters, it's like 35 meters. The height of a 15-story building. There, you see, a person is working on that monkey board, while the tower itself is around 45 meters.
There are only 5 or 6 giants in our country. This one was made in the US, cost millions of dollars. Until recently, it's been working in the Persian Gulf area in Oman. This rig was transported to Ukraine by sea, first through the Suez Channel to Chernomorsk and then to the western Ukraine. It took almost 100 trucks, a special logistical operation, a successful operation. After that, the drilling rig is undergoing a complex setup.
Everything is computerized here, top drive controls, winch controls. It's not like an old equipment. Everything turns out easily and smoothly, controlled by a joystick. Here.
After it's set, it will drill around the city of Stry right down to 2,900 meters. This is Burj Khalifa plus Haverla. What is a geologist's shimmering dream?
We are talking about a deposit with an estimation of 100 billion.
To find the autochthon. Where is the Ukrainian gas Eldorado? Let's continue our expedition. They say that Horizontis drillers can bullseye even the smallest gas deposit kilometers below the surface. All the while they can drill not just straight down, but also at the angle. Even at the angle of 90 degrees there is, horizontally. This is called controlled directional drilling, a technology that has been mastered by few on the market in Ukraine. Now imagine seeing an entire hangar full of top-shelf equipment that bends drilling pipes, something that opened for the professionals in the gas industry, literally and metaphorically, new horizons. New technologies combined with an immensely experienced crew. This gives hopes to uncovering the Ukrainian gas Eldorado. But how do drillers know where to set drill rigs? Where to point the drill bit?
It's raining. It's okay that it's raining. Is there a thunder anywhere? No.
Prospectors. They must find the gas deep underground before the arrival of drillers.
Все, запускаю машину.
Under what depths can you find natural gas traps? What is their volume? What's the position of the deposit and what's the best angle for drilling? These answers are sought with the help of these American special vehicles, like moon rovers drive across the hills and plains of Transcarpathia.
We're not looking for gas or oil. We're looking for structures where it can be found. We're looking for stratifolds, anticline folds, since it's easier to extract them from anticline folds due to water pressure. With syncline folds, water travels back and forth. Everyone says that we are looking for oil and gas, while we are looking for structures.
Over 40 years of his experience, he has looked for gas everywhere. Miroslav says that Ukraine has a bit of advantage over immensely hydrocarbon-rich Persian Gulf countries.
I worked abroad in the United Arab Emirates and Yemen.
What's the difference in being a prospector in the United Arab Emirates and Ukraine?
Well, the methods are the same, but the territory differs. In the Arabic Emirates, we have the desert and the mountains. In Yemen, it's just mountains.
Where was it harder?
It's easier to look for oil and gas, as seismic devices stick in the clay better, while in the sand they get loose.
Turns out, the land in our homeland helps. The route is created exclusively within the licensed area and only through points that topographers set with satellites and stakes.
We enter picket number 1134.
Do I input? Okay. So enter 1134. What's this?
That's an arrow
Right here, yes?
that shows the direction to the picket, and then we'll stick it here.
I take the stake. I saved it. Stopping there, special vibrating devices create real, localized earthquakes. This is called seismographic tomography. A mini earthquake is happening under my feet. That's how geologists are looking for new gas deposits. The earth is penetrated, layers of soil are moved, and then the feedback from the shake is registered. These machines are started. Everything starts to shake. What exactly are they doing? You vibrate the ground?
We vibrate the ground instead of exploring it to determine useful information out of the waves that those processes generate.
Bowels of earth reflect the waves for a second. Black arcs, the more you have those, the better.
Yes.
So this is priceless information required for further exploration of gas deposits.
Do you see those lines? There, we have a reflection.
Of stuff that happens underground.
Yes, this information is particularly useful, which later we provide for processing, and then this information is expanded upon and a further course of action is decided.
Further course of action is decided in this old office building we saw earlier in Lviv, where all the information from the crews in the field is collected.
From this seismic data, we create an image of the researched horizon. Find out sweet spots, that is, most elevated locations.
Mikhailo Nakapelyuk, despite his young age, already has a PhD in geology, and things that are elementary to him for a simple person are extremely complicated. Wait, how do you decipher this data?
We have seismic profiles which let us see the depth, composition of the soil, the horizons. Based on this data, we build structural maps.
Is it marked with a special color or something?
Well, we see the shape. We take a closer look at the horizon. We dome shape.
To make it simpler, Mikhailo, along with his colleagues, is collecting information from the field along with historical and scientific data. Then this data is processed, interpreted, and 3D models are created. Mikhailo jokes that he's looking for traps and rescues gas from them. One well takes 2 to 3 months. These orange ones, why are they highlighted?
These are called sweet spots. They are highlighted because drilling in these spots will allow us for maximum output from these horizons.
Sweet spots on the map is in fact hard physical work. Only drillers, geologists, and topographers can make these sweet spots work. Unfortunately, not always. How often do you argue with your colleagues about the spots? Do you have those moments at all?
Quite often, because it's an interpretation. Every interpreter sees the same spot in his own way while observing the same seismic picture. Therefore, arguments do happen.
Scientific arguments about the placement of gas deposits, these are a question of not only professional capacity, but of financial one. One could argue that the financial side comes first, since the price of a mistake in this industry is massive. Seismological tomography on site cost around 50 million. Exploratory well drilling from 30 to 300 million. It can cost up to 40 million hryvnia to drill a relatively shallow working well at 1500 meters. Are you planning on extracting from 5000 meters? Get ready to pay 200 million. These are insane numbers, while everything can happen in the deep. If we get there, this means we will find gas 100%?
There is no such thing as 100% in geology.
That is why, besides your own knowledge, having a bit of luck and a positive attitude helps in this business.
I say that we never voice our negative thoughts around and we always think positively.
Luck smiled upon Ostap Melnitsky and his crew. Geological forecast about sweet spots of the Hirskie field was confirmed 100%.
This well was drilled for 18 days. The previous one we drilled in 20 because it had to be deeper.
What happens next?
We install the wellhead equipment, we test it, get the gas to flow. In the meantime, geologists determine the number of deposits, their depth, and for how long will it be correct to extract it.
2 wells at once, one for 1100 and one for 1300 meters, have been successfully drilled ahead of schedule. The Xmas trees were set, but not just any fittings, but so-called selective extraction fittings. When one well provides gas from different depths, not a lot of enterprises do that in Ukraine. Ostap has 8 years of harsh Siberian experience. He also drilled in the east of Ukraine, so he can compare and find out that every well in the western Ukraine is unique, as the drilling bit constantly changes trajectory and you have to keep it steady.
The well is completed by installing the wellhead equipment. We control the pressure and give the debit the way we want it.
That's the end of it?
As drillers, we've done our job, yes.
They hand over this section and move on to the next one. Drillers' job 24/7 shifts for a few weeks, in the fields and in the mountains, in heat, in rain and snow. Drilling activities on another Kazitsky well are about to end.
Right now, we're heading to the well Bistritsky 5. This is Bistritsky gas field, well number 5. In total, there are 8 wells drilled, but the other is as follows: 4, 5, 6, 8, and now 5.
As we write, Stepan is telling us about public relations.
We work with the local government and they are quite satisfied because we provide them with the rent, which is set at 3%. It's good for them too, they have money they can spend.
About how drillers come to fields and marshes and leave roads, create new industrial infrastructure, jobs, perspective.
There used to be impossible marshes there, terrible conditions. A lot of peat. It gets flooded easily. It was very hard to build a road there, but we managed to find a way out.
This well was drilled on Bistritsky gas field, unique in a sense that all 8 spots suggested by geologists turn out to be functional. I'm being asked to see for myself. Is that the final stage?
Yes, this is the final stage of the well research. We got the gas flare. Our team is happy, like children, as you can see. We see the results of our work.
Cool. Aren't you sad?
Why? No, on the contrary. These moments are the highlight moments in the life of a driller.
Because there is a result.
Exactly, because there is a result.
$1,200,000 cubic meters of gas will be produced by this well. This will be enough to warm and feed people from the closest city and the surrounding villages. Ukrainian gas, no import required. Fuel from here, plus more than 150 million cubic meters of gas yearly from 15 other active wells. These are top 10 results and the ones you can be proud of. Their gas production covered the yearly needs of any region of Ukraine. In general, geologists estimate the reserves of Zahidnadver service locations at more than 10 billion cubic meters. It's a lot, but it's still not the coveted autochthon.
The search of autochthon, or para-autochthon that is, an immovable part upon which the Carpathians stand. This can theoretically be a source of all already exploited or explored deposits in the whole of western Ukraine. Well, what is autochthon? It's massive depths in the Carpathian Mountains, around 6,000 to 7,000 meters. We are getting ready for that. For example, last year we bought 2 drilling rigs that can go that deep. We didn't have any of that before, so we are getting ready for it.
Next year, their American giant in Subcarpathia will be facing a challenge, 4.5 kilometers. Somewhere there, at the frightening depths of 4 and 5 and maybe even deeper up to 7,000 meters, they expect to find the coveted Western Ukrainian Eldorado, unlimited reserves of the energy of the West.